Hi, folks. It's Mark Merrill with Firm. We're going into politics and also protests under the main GOP candidates, and just what we need, America, another No Kings protest. Well, there was a near-capacity turnout of the Republican supporters for 8 gubernatorial candidates on October 18th at the Augusta Civic Center during the scheduled Meet the Candidates Forum, hosted by the main GOP party. Among the topics and important issues covered were following controversial pro-conservative Facebook posts. Yeah, there was both sides, ladies and gentlemen, but plus the evil but realistic pictures of homeless and illegal people's deadly trash remnants of needles, bodily fluid-used gauzes, and some observations by us, Firm, and the main wire, and one of the Republican Party's lead candidates for governor, among others. So as we get started here, folks, you can see here before you we had at least a fairly good picture of the main gubernatorial candidates for the GOP. Starting on the far side here would be Bobby Charles, and then Ben Midgley, followed by Kenneth Capron in the baseball cap, Jim Libby, Robert Wessels, Jonathan Bush, David Jones, and Owen McCarthy. There's the 8 of them there, folks. You can certainly look this up on our post when we're done on YouTube and or Twitter or x.com. We'll have those candidates in order here listed, and you can certainly look them up by their name and website. So as we move on, ladies and gentlemen, the key thing here to remember is that we can't just take things for granted anymore in this country, that we're going to automatically change things and move around and get the Democrats, or as we call them, as you know already, the deflectocrats, out of office. You know as well as I do, ladies and gentlemen, we got to do it. We got to get them out, period. Now, before we read this one to you, folks, get a good eyeful. This is near the town of Sanford, Maine's middle school. That's right. That's where all these lovely needles and gauzes with bodily God knows what on them strewn around trees and shrubs and dirt and encampments around the middle school of Sanford. And yet the protesters, as we'll show you in a few minutes, a few pictures of them around the state of Maine, thanks to the Maine Wire, keep complaining that Donald Trump is not my president. And they keep calling him other names as well. But we here at Firm, folks, wanted to give you also our point of view. So I think you cherish it quite a bit before we move on to the next segment. Also, we want to honor our friend and colleague who gave his life for free speech, not only for youth, but for the entire country and the entire world as he traveled the world as well, ladies and gentlemen. Charlie Kirk, in the name of Jesus Christ, the Son of God, our Savior. As we all know, folks, those of us who believe that God is in control, nobody else. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Blessings to Charlie's wife and young children, extended family, for all time. Now, as far as the needles go, folks, and the gauze, and all the other things that are strewn here on the ground before you, you, the American population, are you ready for these real pictures? in and around your schools, neighborhoods? You know where your school-age children are? Those of you who have them, let's say between the ages of 10 and 18. Do you know where they are after school? When they're out and dismissed for the day? Still daylight, folks, before the clocks get turned again. On a day-to-day basis, those of you who do work, ladies and gentlemen. And do you know who their friends are in today's society and culture? This picture depicts used needles at the middle school in Sanford, as depicted by Bobby Charles. There are no words. Giving away 3.7 million needles will not stop Maine's drug crisis. That's just Bobby Charles. We'll get to the other candidates as we move along this week, as Maine takes a look at all the GOP gubernatorial candidates. But today, we're also including the No Kings protests. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have the, as we mentioned just a couple of minutes ago, the Maine Wire had a few stellar pictures of the protesters around the state. They're not a pretty sight either. We got a few comments on that, too. Now, this happened on Saturday, folks. The day of, before the evening ceremonies of the Maine gubernatorial candidates forum at the Augusta Civic Center. But these were in different locations. I don't believe the Maine Wire tells us exactly where these pictures are taken. But this gentleman down here in the bigger picture, you can probably tell the age of a lot of these protesters is not exactly youthful to get around anymore, or hardly. He's got a cane, as you can see. He's a protester. I think he's about as fearsome as a fly. And all these same pictures keep showing up. Also, folks, when we go out every week and come upon the protesters at Elm Plaza in the middle of downtown, middle of Main Street, upstreet Waterville, they're crazy people. Still fighting the Vietnam War, only they think Trump started it. Yeah, it's true. All of them on the corners, everywhere else, folks, you know, with the signs. Let's see here. What do we have? Resist. Oh, isn't that cute, folks? Isn't this a cute one? I'm just now getting a look of it. It's the Statue of Liberty with an angry face. Resist. Wow. I bet you that took a lot of work. Someone else had to do it because they don't look like they're young enough to figure it out, technically speaking. And the ones up above that, another big sign that says resist. And we have to take a look at this closer, folks. Pardon me a minute. So many lies, so little cardboard. Wow. Gee whiz. That makes me want to run and hide. Almost literally. And climate denial kills. Is that right? I better watch what I breathe. Tax the rich. I don't think we've seen that one, folks, in about, 40, 50 years in politics? Kind of doubt it. And some other cardboard ones. Don't you love it when people make cardboard signs, ladies and gentlemen? And they have them in black ink, which is one thing. But it's another, because you can't even read some of these in cardboard down here, like in this one right here. What the heck is she talking about? Ugh. Enough time on that. Next, folks, a little bit more details as we'll leave the protesters up there for temporarily just a little bit longer, as a gentleman called Paul Clifford reposted a report from Maine Wire in our great state of free press, including your own, Mark Merrill here. So as we try to do our famous balancing act, folks, which we shall right there, this one, as we said, comes from Paul Clifford, who put this on Facebook about a day and a half ago. So what did the No Kings protest rallies hope to accomplish around the entire state of Maine and the organized groups around the United States? Well, this is from a Facebook share. Maine Wire reporter John Featherston was on the ground for multiple No Kings protests Saturday. That would have been the 18th. Weather was perfect, crisp and sunny, and a crowd of about 500 had gathered. Well, that's probably more accurate with the Maine Wire than it is anybody else who does reporting from newspapers who have been bought and sold by Janet Mills and all the TV stations from Presque Isle all the way to York County. Free press? We barely have one in this state, folks. There was, without question, the most normal group this gentleman says he saw all day, Mr. Featherston. Mostly women, polite and eager to share why they were there. But when he, meaning Mr. Featherston, asked more than 20 people a simple question, what happens tomorrow when the protests are over, not a single one gave a clear answer. The next stop was South Portland for Mr. Featherston. That's where the tone started to shift. Costumes and signs became louder and the stranger. Attendance was smaller, but the energy was more frantic as Secretary of State Shenna Bellows made an appearance. Great. Isn't that all we need? That's all we need is an appearance by Ding Dong here. Figures. Bigger the city, I suppose, the more they want to show up. More photo ops. Please. Yikes. Anyway, so there she is in all her tininess. Not her highness, that's for damn sure. When Mr. Featherston asked her why she had fired UPS and hired the small courier service following the Amazon box of 250 ballots found in Newburgh, she bolted. She took off. No answer, no accountability. A real leader would have faced that question, not run and hide from it. Then off to Portland. Mr. Featherston said walking through Deering Park was a grim reminder of the city's struggles. People passed out from drugs, open drug dealing, profanity everywhere, and a homelessness crisis visible on every corner. The rally, however, itself was hostile from the start. No one wanted to talk to a reporter from the Maine Wire. He says he was shoved, glared at, and called a fascist. One person told me directly, quote, "The Maine Wire is not welcome here." My response? Now who's the king? Indeed, there are no kings. The scene only grew stranger as adults in bear, dinosaur, and frog costumes paraded through the park. Well, not B-A-R-E, thank God. No one was nude. Organizers from Indivisible, as we're quite aware of it, folks, and we've already promoted that here on Firm and told you about where to find them. Indivisible midmaine.org. That's indivisible midmaine.org or indivisible.org. Check them out. They're nasty people. And they sure as heck aren't constitutional. So anyway, all kinds of bears, dinosaurs, and frogs paraded through the park. Organizers from Indivisible and the ACLU, which doesn't represent the people anymore, the American Civil Liberties Union hasn't been fair to the 350 million people in this country in about 60 years almost. You can ask Richard Nixon that one if he was still alive. But they refused interviews, just like I keep getting of Upper Main Street and Elm Plaza in Waterville, folks. Indivisible? Nah, they don't want anything to do with me. We don't talk to you, this one leader lady said. No one wanted to talk to a reporter from the Maine Wire again. And one woman at the ACLU table called me a fascist, meaning Mr. Featherston. Another scolded me for taking photos in a public park. Oh, really? You mean you can't? Or, don't have my camera phone with me, but, there goes another violation of the First Amendment. Breathing and shooting fire brims through your nose and your mouth. Unconstitutional. Yeah. Unconstitutional. Woohoo! As we continue, folks. Then, of course, she took his picture, but he can't. Right. Mm-hmm. Once again, he was shoved, glared at, and called a fascist. One person told him directly that, again, you're not welcome here. Triggered, indeed. Technical difficulties delayed the start of the program, and when it finally began, the speeches were exactly what many expected. Shenna Bellows, Hannah Pingree, Congresswoman Shelley Pingree. Ugh. You can't tell me Hannah was dragged into this. I'm not dragged into this. Of course she was. Shelley doesn't have a clue. Can you imagine that Hannah does? I don't think so. It was the same tired script, Trump bad, ICE bad, hurt feelings, no solutions. When Mr. Featherston walked out, he passed a grown man in a bear suit, another in a frog suit, and two older people dressed as dinosaurs, and a woman dressed as a clown. I think that's quite appropriate. Honk, honk. A woman celebrating her birthday told me she wanted the president dead. When all was said and done, there was no plan to win an election, no acknowledgement of Trump's victories in both the popular vote debate and the Electoral College, no mention of the Middle East peace deal recently accomplished, no coherent strategy, just costume slogans and weak speeches filled with distortions. The median age was over 60. I told you, folks. We said this way back a few episodes ago. They have to be at least 55 or older. Still fighting the Vietnam War. Oh, by the way, hey, can we just do this real quick? Oh, folks, Vietnam War was over 50 years ago. The median age over 60, very few people under 30. So, has the younger generation figured it out? Woke is not the way? Question mark. Tomorrow morning, the sun will rise and Donald Trump will still be president. That's really about it, folks, right there. A couple of other ones we want to just pass along to you here, which are quite interesting, shall we say. Some remarks from that post by Mr. Clifford and also the Maine Wire reporter, Mr. Weatherston. They did a lot. They prevented us from getting a king and protected Trump as our president. Oh, here's one. I hope we can see the picture, folks. It's pretty funny, actually. It's a bull moose showing no queens. She wants no kings. We want no queens. We've had enough of her queen of denial bull. Another post by a Paul Quattrelli said, a huge thank you to all the No Kings protesters the other day. I was very concerned a king was trying to take my place, but thanks to your tireless efforts, I am still your president. Great job all. Donald J. Trump. Reposted by Paul Quattrelli. Ken Reynolds said, getting lazy people a paycheck for a day, I see. And the last one, folks, Michael Hutchins posted, just shows those who hate America, they hate a closed border, they hate ICE and cleaning up crime. They hate anything Trump does. Trump loves America, doesn't take a paycheck, and runs the country like a business. Efficient. Less government, more freedom. Those people who marched hate all those things. I don't know how more succinct you can get. Really, folks, it's pathetic. Very pathetic. As for the rest of us, folks, I'd like you to stay in touch with us any way you can, especially with our podcasts and our links right there, as you can now see them pretty well. We are firm. Fairness in reporting media. And email us anytime for your ideas or even suggestions as to what kind of topics you would like to hear covered. Over the next several days, folks, or in the next 3 or 4 episodes of our podcast, we'll be covering the GOP candidates and try to do a little bit of profiled highlights. Don't forget to vote on November 4th. It's all about question 1 for voter ID and question number 2 on red flag laws, whether they should exist or not. Check us out on Twitter or X.com and YouTube.com. As always, folks, Mark Merrill here. Pray for our country. Pray for our state. Pray for our state of mind. Peace to all.